What makes you a leader is your ability to make a decision. Who's with me on this, right? And anybody can make the easy decision, right? So what makes you a leader is you can make the tough decisions. And what makes you a leader is you make the decision. What makes you a great leader is, I may be wrong, but if I have to wait till everything's resolved, nothing's going to get resolved. So I'm going to make a decision. If I make a decision and it's wrong, I'll find out quicker than if I sit on the fence while my life goes by. I remember I've shared this with maybe a few of you before, but years and years ago when we had the big Gulf War, General, Norman Schwarzkopf's a friend of mine, passed away a few years ago, and I used to bring him in to talk about leadership. And one of the first times I ever asked him, I said, how do you define leadership? How do you know when a person's really a leader? And he said, well, they can make decisions. And he said, I can remember when he was an assistant to a general, and I forget what the exact position is, but he said he was responsible for reading all the briefs. And this general is one of the highest generals in the Army. And there was a decision that needed to be made. It had to do with the 10 years of going back and forth with the Pentagon, trying to figure out if they're going to go one direction or another. It was a gigantic decision that was going to affect the way the Army was structured, how money was going to be divided, what resources are going to go where. And he said they brought in this group of 20 people in, and they had this 2-hour meeting, and everybody got up and pitched their side of what they thought was right. And at the end, when it was completely done, the general said, has everyone said their piece? He said, yes. He said, do this. It was plan A, or plan B, whatever it was, out of the 3 choices they had. And everybody said, okay, okay, General, saluted him and ran off to go implement this thing. And Schwarzkopf said he was freaking out because he knew there's no way that general could have read everything even he'd read. And this was such a complex piece, and there was only 2 hours, and everybody gave their best. But my God, there's so many things to consider. And so he finally got up enough courage, he said, to go to the general. He said, General, so he said, permission to speak freely. He said, ease, speak freely. He said, General, there is so much information here, and there's so much here, and no one's really going to know for sure. How the hell could you just make that decision like that? He said, because someone had to make it. He said, because it's been going around for 10 years back and forth and no one being able to make a decision. He said, what if you're wrong? He said, if I'm wrong, we'll find out quicker. And if I'm right, the job will be done. Next question. Right? It's like when you're put in charge, take command.